Folks, we got to talk about Ohio. So, unless you've been under a rock all week, you probably already know that in Ohio, in Congressional District 12, there was a special election to handle a vacancy. They had a Republican member of Congress that left the office. I think he actually went to go work for the Chamber of Commerce in Ohio. I guess that's more lucrative. Anyway, so there was a vacancy election, and there were three candidates that were running for that position. One was a Republican, Troy Balderson, who I guess is a state senator there. Another one was a Democrat, Danny O'Connor. I think he's a county clerk somewhere. And then one of our candidates, Joe Manchin from the Green Party. So, at the last report that I've seen, they've even found a box of 500 missing votes. And most of those, I guess, went to the Democrat. And so now at this point, the race is not over. They're still tabulating. They've got some, I think, a couple of weeks that they have to tabulate according to the state law. And the margin between the Democrat and the Republican is winning as of right now, is less than 2,000 votes. So our guy, Joe Manchin, the Green Party candidate, got just over 1,100 votes. 1,127, I think, was the count. And of course, as you can imagine, because the Democrat could not convert, could not make it happen, all hell is breaking loose because Joe Manchin is the spoiler candidate, and oh, those terrible Greens and this and that and the other, even to the point that who's the boss? Alyssa Milano, the actress, decided to chime in and beat up on poor Joe Manchin. So that's the situation. But the other part of the situation is even more interesting than that. And that is the issue that some nearly 400,000 people of either party, Democrat or Republican, or otherwise, decided to stay home. And you would think that because the Democrats are trying to regain control of Congress, they would pull out all the stops. It would be do or die. It would be GOTV like crazy and mobilize the base. But 400,000 people stayed home. It was a 37% voter turnout as of tonight. And you have to wonder, what happened? Why did those voters stay home? And you can assume probably a good chunk of those people were Democrats. So why did those Democrats stay home? Thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of Democrats. Well, I have a couple of ideas. And the first thing that I want to do is show you one of the campaign videos for this Danny O'Connor guy. It's just a quick video. Let's check it out. And then after the video, we'll talk about it, okay? Here you go.
I voted for John Kasich the last 3 times. I voted for Trump because I didn't like the way things were going in Washington. And now I'm supporting Danny O'Connor because I met Danny and I felt like he was very genuine. He's energetic, young, kind of brings a new perspective. John Kasich and Danny O'Connor both don't worry about the labels of Democrat, Republican. They're going to go get things done either way.
I'm Danny O'Connor, and I approve this message.
So you can kind of see if your Democratic candidate is pandering so hard to Trump voters and to John Kasich voters, I don't know, it's probably going to be a little hard to tell the difference between one or the other if you're kind of a rank and file voter. And if it's already a Republican district, I don't know, you're probably just not even going to bother because you're basically thinking you're getting 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I mean, we're talking about the Ohio governor, the former candidate for president, John Kasich, who actually says, it's still on his website, that upon election he would immediately approve the KXL pipeline, who immediately wanted to increase cybersecurity and beef up the military, and he wants cheap energy, and he's not going to be opposed to any new exploration and this and that and the other, right? You have the Democrat over here who obviously thinks that that's a great thing, who is even being quoted in the media as saying, no, he's not going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. And listen, I'm not a Nancy Pelosi fan, but if you're not going to even do the minimum expectations of what is expected of Democrats, why should Democratic voters come out to support you? That's just all there is to it, right? So, you know, one thing that we need to make absolutely clear is that Green Party voters are not going to vote for Democrats. Those 1127 Green Party voters, by no stretch of the imagination, were going to vote for this O'Connor guy sounding the way that he did. You know, and what's really ironic here is that that candidate was spending so much time chasing after Trump voters, and yet what Democrats say to us, what is it that they say to us all the time? That we're the reason that Trump got elected, even though Hillary Clinton got 3 million more popular votes than Trump did. And I'm sitting here wondering, if it's the Electoral College that got Trump elected, then where's the Democrat bill to abolish the Electoral College? I don't know. Maybe it's easier to just complain and to pass the buck on a party that is actually going to be in opposition to your neoliberalism. Maybe that's what it is. You know, we don't have to ask the permission of the Democrats to run. You know, and we can have all kinds of conversations about the efficacy of the Manchin campaign. That's fine. You know, but we don't have to ask the permission of Democrats to run. We don't need to ask the permission of the Democrats to oppose the corruption, to oppose the blurring of the lines, to oppose the absolute sellout that their candidates are doing on behalf of these Democratic voters. So much so that these Democratic voters are not getting up off the couch. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over. We don't have to ask for permission, and we're going to challenge Democrat corruption, Democrat neoliberalism, any way, shape we can. And I don't care if you think Joe Manchin was ready for prime time or not. The fact remains, this is a candidate who was going to oppose new wars for oil. This is a candidate that was talking about green energy and putting people back to work using new green energy, and was opposed to more oil exploration. We already see this, you know, the KXL pipeline, you know, all of the situation in Standing Rock. Those pipelines have already started leaking, right? And so, you know, the American people deserve a candidate and a party that's willing to stand up against this kind of Democrat inadequacy. I think they're the ones really that are not ready for prime time, because no matter what happens, they just can't make it happen. And they flip out when they have even one candidate with even one iota of progressive stance, like they did with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in New York, right? And, you know, the Democratic establishment is flipping out. Well, that's why we don't run as Democrats. And we don't owe the Democratic Party our allegiance. We don't owe them our votes, because they simply are not talking about the things that matter. And if the Democratic Party is going to spend all of this energy, all of these resources into pointing their fingers at Trump and conveniently forgetting the military escalation that happened under Obama, the fact that Obama is still, even after all of the atrocities at the border with children, Obama is still the deporter-in-chief. You know, and if they're going to try to spend all this energy to take Democrats' eyes off those balls, right, and blame Trump on us, because we have the guts to stand up for a platform and for the issues that are important to the American public, well, they can just keep losing. That's just the way it's going to turn out. And even when they do win, what's the difference between them and the Republican candidates? So I want to show you the backbone that Joe Manchin has. Of course, the local media there in Ohio, they're going crazy. But he gave a really, really excellent interview, and I want to roll it, and that's how we're going to end the video today. And I want to say thank you to Joe Manchin for standing up, for showing backbone, for being faithful to the Green Platform, and for being unafraid to challenge Democrat, corruption and neoliberalism and, virtual republicanism. So I want to say thank you to Joe. Here's his video. And, go Green Party. Thanks very much. Here's Joe.
100, Green Party candidate Joe Manchin, 2. Balderson now leads the race by less than 1,800 votes. And the race hinges on thousands of provisional and absentee ballots. And there's a lot of talk about the Green Party's role in the race. ABC 6's Seema Iyer is live at the Franklin County Board of Elections. And Seema, you spoke with Manchik. What's he saying about all this?
I did, Terry. He's saying that Joe Manchik is saying that he's not taking the heat for O'Connor's party being spoiled. No, sirree. He's saying the Green Party is opposed to both the Democrats and the Republicans' platform. Essentially, he says it's us against them. On the day after the special election in Ohio's 12th district, many people are blaming the Green Party for the razor-thin margin between Republican candidate Troy Balderson and Democratic candidate Danny O'Connor.
Everything you do matters. We are at the most crucial point.
And I need your vote on Tuesday.
With a margin so thin, what does the other candidate in the race, Joe Manchik, think?
I couldn't care less, because there really is no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
Manchik was trending on social media today with people calling him a spoiler for O'Connor. He says he takes issue with that. He says he's a serious candidate with a serious platform.
I decided to start running for Congress in 2015. The main reason I did that is to give the people of the 12th Congressional District a real voice in our out-of-control government.
He wants people to understand that the Green Party is not an offshoot of the Democratic Party.
Democrats and Republicans in Congress, they only represent the corporate interests and the corporate profits of the multinational corporations that own the Democratic-Republican duopoly oligarchy mafia cartel.
The leadership of the Green Party in Ohio says the criticism of Manchik on social media is way off.
In the state of Ohio, at least, we steal just as many Republican votes as we do Democrat votes. So as far as if we were really disruptive, it would have been disruptive on both ends equally.
A lot of the responses from the media and from actresses and actors, they have been completely wrong. The vote margin from the Green Party, if 100% of the Greens had voted for a Democrat, which would never happen, it's still about 500 or so short.
There's also been a lot of chatter online about a post that Manchik made, essentially saying that he was from another planet. I asked him about it. He said it was just a silly Facebook post. He does plan to run in the general election in November. And guys, he plans to win. Live at the Franklin County Board of Elections, Seema Iyer, ABC 6.